Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the International Student Virtual Mobility Program 2024, Day 2. I am Estetika Nusantara and also my partner Devon Johanda as today's MCs. It is our honor to be your Master of Ceremonies on ISVMP Day 2.
Yes, yesterday was an incredible as we wrapped out our event with three remarkable speakers who delved into the critical topics of Sustainable Development Goals 7, 12, and 13, increasing the awareness of participants to be more concerned about the affordable and clean energy, sustainable consumption and production, and urgent action to combat climate change.
Their insights and discussion ignite a spark of awareness and action, reminding us of the urgency to address these global challenges. The conversations were not only enlightening, but also a call to action for each of us to make a positive impact on our planet.
And Estetika, what do we have for today?
Well, Devon, today the agenda will be lecture session 3, sharing experience with Mr. Ahmad Rif'an, Khoirul Lisan, and as an activist on environmental issues, and lecturer in the soil science study program at UPN Veteran Yogyakarta, and project discussion, of course, with our buddies.
Before all that, please fill in the attendance form for today's check-in and write your display name according to the name that has been registered with the following format: group underscore name underscore country. So please rename your name if it's not the same format.
And let me read for the participant rules. 1. All ISVMP participants are required to join the meeting by minimum 30 minutes before the meeting starts, with a maximum of 15 minutes late tolerance. 2. All ISVMP participants are required to turn on their camera and use the virtual background given by the committee. 3. All ISVMP participants are required to use the name format group underscore name underscore country. 4. All ISVMP participants are required to take part in the entire event actively. 5. All ISVMP participants are required to participate at least 2 out of 3 days to be eligible for ISVMP certificate. 6. All ISVMP participants are allowed to wear casual and polite clothes. 7. All ISVMP participants are recommended to be somewhere quiet and proper. 8. All ISVMP participants are recommended to prepare stationaries. 9. It is prohibited to disrupt the events in any kind of way. 10. All ISVMP participants are prohibited to create any noise when the speakers or MC is speaking. 11. All ISVMP participants are prohibited to use electric vapes, cigarettes, or any kinds of alcoholic drinks in the event. 12. All ISVMP participants are prohibited to leave the meeting without any notice from the committee. 13. All ISVMP participants are prohibited to ask for personal matters to the bodies. And 14. All ISVMP participants are prohibited to ask bodies through voice or video phone.
And moving on to the next part, which is the general agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to read our general agenda in this part. Yes. So for one, we have the opening and then the photo session, which is what you saw now then. And then we have the lecture session and then a sharing session and then ice breaking, project discussion, Q&A, announcement for day 3, and then the closing. So quite short and quite long at the same time. So photo session, please.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a photo session to celebrate the start of ISVMP 2024. So to all guests and participants, please open your camera and show your best side and pose for our picture. And please stay in your pose because you don't know which slide you are on, or keep changing poses. You may get 2 pictures, who knows? Okay. I lead the photo session. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide, please. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay, to the next slide, please. And 1, 2, and 3. To the next slide. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay, on to the next slide. And 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I think it's all for the photo session. Thank you all invited guests for attending this photo session. We may continue to our next agenda, which is the lecture session. The next agenda is a lecture session that will be delivered by our moderator, Devon. For Devon, the time is yours.
Again, thank you very much, MC, for the opening. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen, back with me again. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a great day today so that we can be very optimized in the next lecture session. I am Devon Jahanda, currently as your moderator, and again, honored to be here. So, for the first lecture session, we would like to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Syaiful Anwar, PhD, who will be a speaker on SDGs number 13, climate action. I would like to read Mr. Syaiful Anwar's CV for a minute. So, Mr. Syaiful Anwar is currently working with the Ministry of Environment and Forestry of the Republic of Indonesia. His current position is Senior Policy Analyst of the Ministry. He was a director for GHG Inventory and MRV. Previously, he was the head of the Research Center on Climate Change Policy, which brought the center into a center for excellence in science and technology on climate change in Indonesia. He finished his PhD program at the University of Edinburgh, Scotland, in the Faculty of Science and Engineering. He also engages in professional organizations, such as being Secretary General for Indonesia's Soil and Water Conservation Society and being council member of World Association of Soil and Water Conservation. So, let's all welcome Mr. Syaiful Anwar. Mr. Syaiful, how are you?
Well, thank you, Devon. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. How have you been doing lately?
Well, is my sound quite clear for you?
Yes, quite clear.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So, Mr. Syaiful, without further ado, I would like to give the time for you. So, the time is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Devon. So, hi, everyone. I hope you are all feeling a good Sunday today. So, great to see you all. And are you ready to explore today's topic together? So, please let me share my presentation. Please let me know, Devon, whether the presentation is on already.
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So before I begin, I think I'd like to take a moment to thank you for your attention and participations. Let's dive right into the topic today. For today, what is it? It is SDG 13. So let's make this session productive. Sorry. Right. So this is just a short introduction. SDGs 13, climate action is one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, adopted by United Nations in 2015. I hope everybody here knows already. And also the aim of SDG 13 is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So climate change is recognized as a global challenge affecting all countries. I think you also feel that now climate change is make us feel different. Yeah, it's getting warmer. So what is actually climate change? So refer to long-term shift. So climate change refer to long shift. Yeah, the shift in a global or regional climate patterns. So the patterns of climate is change in slow onset. Yeah. So particularly an increase in average global temperature, or sometimes we call it global warming. So human-induced greenhouse gas emission are the primary cause of global warming. So global warming or rising temperature is a primary cause of climate change due to exacerbating natural processes, which increasing GAG concentration in the atmosphere, will leading to extreme weather and environmental disruption. So I think this message provide, this slide, yeah. This image provides a schematic explanation on to make and to make it easy to understand the greenhouse effect. Although some already understand, in fact, there are still many who don't understand sometimes. So when the sun radiation travel towards the Earth, so are absorbed by cloud and the atmosphere, and the rest reach the Earth where it absorbed by ocean or land. So the Earth also then release heat back towards the space, and some of this heat passes directly through the atmosphere, but most of it captured and retained by greenhouse gases. Right, and how many types of greenhouse gases are there? The figure below shows the percentage of several greenhouse gases, such as CO2, C8, or methane, and nitrous oxide, and other gases such as F gases. These gases are called greenhouse gases, mainly CO2, because they create the greenhouse effect, and as explained before. The next is, are greenhouse actually needed? Because now I think most of people think that greenhouse is dangerous, but actually greenhouse also needed by us. So yes, we need greenhouse gases. Why? GAG, a greenhouse gas or GAG, at a certain concentration level is needed to maintain the Earth temperature to support life systems. So if we try to compare three planets, for example, in Mars. So in Mars, the atmosphere is very thin with a thin CO2 concentration. And you know what is the temperature there? It's minus 50 degrees Celsius. How about Venus? Venus is very thick, the atmosphere, contain 96% of CO2. So what happened? Average temperature there is 420 degrees Celsius. So this is like hell. Yeah? It's very hot. How about Earth? The Earth's concentration of the GAG is about 0.03% or 3,000 part per million, yeah, of CO2. So the average temperature is very, very good for us, very comfortable for human life, yeah, about 15%. So this is the global average, yeah. So with 300 part per million concentration in the atmosphere of Earth is very nice. So if you may see the what has been mentioned by Antonio Guterres, he is the Secretary General for UN FCCC. So Antonio Guterres, Secretary General, he says that global warming is rising at an unprecedented rate. So the rate is really incredible. And without intervention, the world risks surpassing the 1.5 degree centigrade threshold. Yeah, without intervention, it will surpassing 1.5 degrees centigrade. So that's why he mentioned the time for action now. And also, Antonio also mentioned that the era of global warming has passed. And now is era of global boiling arrive. What does it mean? Now he thinks that maybe also we feel that now it's not only warming, so it's already boiling. Yeah, the temperature is increased. So from the graph on the right side shows you that GHG concentration in the atmosphere is about 419 ppm in July 2023. I have read that now about 421 ppm. Previously, I mentioned that the comfortable human life is in 300 ppm, right? So now it's 419 or 21. So what does it mean? It means that GHG concentration is increasing continuously. The increase in GHG concentration causes an increase in temperature. It means that the temperature also increase continuously. So you need to know that before the industrialization era, the concentration of GHG was around 280 ppm, and always after reaching 300 ppm, it would decrease again. So after reaching 300 ppm, it decreased again. But after the industrialization era, the concentration of GHG reaching 300 ppm did not decrease, but what happened? Continued to increase until now. So you have to know that really it is we have to stop this increasing. So the climate change fact and figures, I think you understand that global condition has changed. So the temperature have risen by 1.1 degree Celsius since the pre-industrial era, since now. And in 2023, the hottest years on record, if you read the news last year, and sea level are rising 3.3 millimeter per year. So CO2 concentration is the highest, in at least 2 million years. And sea level rise is the fastest rate in at least 3,000 years. And Arctic sea ice area is at the lowest level, at least 100 years. And glacier retreat, unprecedented in at least 200 years. So this is a lot of change actually. So the next, I just to show you that there is a changing of glaciers. Yeah, this is it happens in Rosek Glacier in 1949. In the left is 1949, and on the right is in 2003. So that is different. Yeah, the glacier. The glacier disappears, and also this building also disappear. So you can see this picture in the book of Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore. Yeah, you can check it. It's also in Italian Alps. This side in the left is in 1880, and on the right is 2003. So you see the glacier is disappear. This also in Alps, in Switzerland. So on the left side is 1910, on the right is in 2001. So the glacier is disappear. And this is very interesting. There is Hotel Belvedere, situated in Switzerland as well. On the left side is 1906. So the tourists stay in the hotel. They can enjoy the glacier. But now it's the same site, nearly a century later. The hotel is still there, but the glacier is not. This is in National Park in Argentina, in Patagonia. Yeah. So in 75 years ago, it's still condition like this, and now become a lake, and the water is getting shrinking and shrinking. Right, and yes, I think this condition, the image shows that the rapid process of the collapse of the ice, iceberg will make the habitat of the animals getting very difficult for the animal to stay. And also maybe human life on the small islands is also threatened by with shrinking of the, getting shrinking, but actually the sea level is rise. And yeah, this is to show that the more ice melt, and the fastest the ice melt. And this is the image shows the rapid process of the collapse of the ice wall in Perito Moreno glacier in Argentina. I think I took it in the newspaper in 2018. Yeah, I forget. And now we go to the causes of the climate change. So why it happened? Must be causes. So the causes of climate change, such as fossil fuel combustion, whether for electricity generation, for industry, or for transport. Yeah, this you see on the left is I think this is from oil gas exploration, and this one is from industry. They release also CO2. And this is transportation. It's about there is a full combustion. It's very incredible there, especially in a big city. And the next is waste disposal. So poor sanitation or waste management system, and the accumulation of the organic materials will cause the formation of large amount of methane gas, CH4 or methane gas. And in agriculture sector, so opening of a pit land, especially for agriculture, utility, especially in deep peatland, is also release CH4. If they are burning the pit, also CO2 release. And also inefficient use of irrigation water. So prolonged water retention in rice field and excessive fertilization also release CH4 and nitrous oxide. The next is livestock. So animal waste that accumulates and is not utilized causes the release of methane gas, and really it's quite large quantity, because only the enteric of the animal will release CH4. So that's why a lot of campaign now during conference of party, they try to change people to be a vegetarian, because when you eat meat, it means that you have to have livestock, and what happened? They will really see its fall. And the next is deforestation, illegal logging and unsustainable forest management, and land clearing using fire, which can cause large area of fires, or wildfire. So this release and also the capacity to absorb CO2 from atmosphere also decrease. So this is if you see maybe from the television, the climate change as the cause of wildfire, such as in Kalimantan, Sumatra, and even in California, in Oregon, in Australia also, because of this climate change. So that's why this forestry fighter are the patriot of the nation. We call it patriot of the nation. So the next is the impact of climate change. There are environmental impact, the social economic impact. For environmental impact, such as rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and also loss of biodiversity. In the social and economic impacts, such as food and water insecurity, and during prolonged dry season, farmer is failed to harvest their paddy and other horticulture production decrease, and also displacement of communities. If, for example, if the sea level rise, and then the community who live in the coastal area, they should be pushed back into land, and what happened? There will be conflict of land, and also increased health risk. You know that the climate change, global warming, can cause the vector disease like mosquitoes can arrive in very high level, like in the mountain. So now maybe in the mountain you can find also mosquitoes and make a big problem. So then SDGs 13 very needed, as they have targets for sustainable development related to climate change. So the first is strengthening resilience and adaptive capacity of community and others to climate-related hazard and natural disaster in all countries. The second is integrating climate change measures into national policies, strategies, and planning in all sectors. And the third is to improve education, awareness raising, and human and institutional capacity on climate change mitigation, adaptation, impact reduction, and early warning. And the fourth is implementing the commitment undertaken by developed countries parties to UNFCCC, as United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, to goal of mobilizing jointly 100 billion annually by 2020, and now changed to 2025. And recently, the pledge has become 300 billion annually until by 335. So this is all sources to address the need of developing country in the context of meaningful mitigation actions. So, and the fifth is to promote mechanism for rising capacity to effective climate change related planning and management in least developed countries and small island developing states, including focusing on women, youth, and local and marginalized community. So the next, these points provide a comprehensive overview of how nations and organizations are collaborating to combat climate change. So the first is UNFCCC, I mentioned before, United Nations Framework Convention to Climate Change. So this established, sorry, there is a lack of E, established in 1992 at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. And this convention provides the framework for international cooperation to address climate change. And then also this conference organized the annual conference of parties, or COP, meeting to negotiate agreement, set target, and review progress. So COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan on 11 to 24 November 2024. So just last month, yeah. I just arrived in 25th in Indonesia. So, and then under the UNFCCC also can be resulting an agreement such as Kyoto Protocol, and Kyoto Protocol is already passed now, Paris Agreement. So the Paris Agreement is a global framework to limit warming to 1.5 degree Celsius. So this is a landmark international treaty adopted by 196 parties at COP21 in Paris. So the aim is to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius with effort to cap it at 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrialization level. So require each country to submit national determined contribution, or NDC, so outlined in their climate action plan. So this NDC is very important for each parties, each country like Indonesia. So we have to have a pledge how many percent we can reduce the greenhouse gas emission. Like Indonesia is 31%. If unconditionally, I mean by our country itself, and if by international cooperation will be 43%. And then International Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC. So it's a scientific body established in 1988 to provide comprehensive report on climate science. So findings guide global policymaking and highlight the urgency of climate action. So the last report is the sixth assessment report. So emphasize the critical need to act with this decade to avoid catastrophic warming. So all information, scientific data came from IPCC. So the next is the key role of follow sector, because you know that the only sector who can absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is trees, is forest, through photosynthesis process. Yeah. So the key role and contributions of forests. So forests act as a carbon sink, absorbing 7.6 billion tons of CO2 annually. This is global. And deforestation contributes to 11% of global emission. And also sustainable land use practices are very critical for mitigation of climate change. So the challenge and solution of the FOLU sector, FOLU is forest and other land use. So challenge and solutions is reforestation and afforestation. So this is solution, but also challenge, because to do this action, reforestation and afforestation really need a lot of financial support. And sustainable forest management, and then strengthening international agreement like REDD+, reducing emission from forest, from deforestation and forest degradation. And then the way forward, so by reducing deforestation and degradation, follow sector could provide up to 30% of global mitigation needed to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. 30% is okay. I mean, it's big enough, yeah. But only 30% because we still have 70%. If not, then 1.5 will not be achieved. So government, businesses, and communities also must work together to balance development need with environmental conservation. So this is case studies on successful climate action initiatives. For example, in Ethiopia's Green Legacy initiative, they planned 5 billion trees planted in 2023. So in Costa Rica, there are transition to nearly 100% renewable energy. So fossil fuel, little by little will be reduced, and then finally 100% with renewable energy. This is in Costa Rica. And Indonesia, we have a program Follow Net Sinks 2030. It means that in 2030, in Indonesia, we'll have the absorption or sequestration of CO2 equivalent from atmosphere is bigger than emission from forestry. So if you see from the assessment report 6 IPCC, so I mentioned before that all parties have to have NDCs, so target to reduce emission, national determined contribution. So if all cumulated, all parties NDC is cumulated, so this is not in the path of 1.5 degree. So the path of 1.5 degree is here in the blue, dark blue. So that's why in every COP, Conference of Party, always support to increase, to enhance ambition. So NDCs, each country is asked to be more ambitious. So that's why Indonesia have first NDC, and then we have updated NDC, and then we have enhanced NDC. And in 2034, we will have second NDC. So what is net zero then? Because, you know, if you want to stop 1.5, so there should be net zero emission. So it means that will be achieved net zero when all GHG emission released by humans are counterbalanced by emission being removed from the atmosphere. So if it is balanced, and then we will achieve net zero. So global timeline to reach net zero emission for limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius entails net zero CO2 in 2050, but net zero GHG for all gases in about 265 in 2065. But for limiting global warming to 2 degrees Celsius, the sorry, yeah, the net zero will be achieved in 2080, but for all gases will be in 2100. So looks still very long, but actually very short, because now scientists think that the increasing is faster than they think before. So maybe net zero will be shift earlier. So challenge in achieving SDG 13. So a lot of challenge actually, but mostly is about financial constraint and lack of political will. So implementing climate action initiatives requires substantial investment, particularly for developing countries, yeah, like Indonesia. We need a really financial support to do the climate change actions. And the second is limited public awareness and education. So lack of understanding about climate change and its impact often result in resistance to behavioral changes or policies. So many communities remain unaware of sustainable practices or underestimate the urgency of climate action. So inequities in resource distribution among nations also, and also resistance to policy change on a green transition. So like powerful industries such as fossil fuel often resist green policies to protect their profit. So policies like carbon pricing or renewable energy mandates face opposition due to perceived economic burden on business and consumers. So how can individuals and organizations contribute? So individuals they can reuse, recycle, use renewable energy, or minimize waste. Yeah, for individual, if you have a mineral water bottle, you can use it again. If you throw it, then you can make it more problem with environment. You can reuse, yeah, and if possible, you can recycle it and use renewable energy. Or the important thing of us is minimize waste. Yeah, so try to finish your food. If you eat, don't waste it, because if the waste of food piling, they will produce methane, yeah, C8. For organization, implementing green policies and reduce carbon footprint. For community, you can advocate for policy change, participate in tree planting initiative, and etc. So it's call of action. So everyone has a role to play in combating climate change. So everyone, not only me, not only you, but also your parent, your friend. Yeah. So small actions lead to big changes. So be like a Superman. Yeah. And the conclusion and a key takeaway, I think, time still have, yes. So climate change is really the biggest challenge, yeah, the defining challenge of our time. So then we have to think about it. So achieving SDG 13 is essential for the future of the planet. So the planet really needs you. So act now, not tomorrow, but now. So thank you very much indeed. So back to Devon.
Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent presentation. Excellent material as well. If I may summarize a bit about your materials, you present a lot about climate change, how it affects the world, how it changes landscapes, glaciers melting and becoming lakes or just becoming drier. Then extreme weather, sea levels rising, and if I were to give an example of Indonesia itself, I know that Jakarta is, well, drowning, and it's becoming one of the most quickest drowning landmass in history. So I think it's really interesting materials about how we as young people need to have ambition, and then public awareness, resource distribution, policy changes, and not waste food. And I think it's a really important material. So, well, moving on to the next part, which is question and answers. So for all participants, you may be ready to give out your questions to Mr. Syaiful Anwar. I think, okay, people are already giving their questions, but I see that Hilda is the first one to raise her hand. So you may give the question.
I'm sorry, I can turn on my camera. So I have a question: how to minimize the risk of animal waste if animal is one of the most crucial food source. That's my answer, sir.
That's your question.
Yes.
Mr. Syaiful?
Okay, so direct answer. Okay, thank you very much. Grumpy, is it? Grumpy. Hilda.
Yes, Grumpy.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your question. It's very good questions, and everybody should think about this. Yeah. So, animal meat is our food, but if we eat food, then we have to have livestock, and the livestock create a problem for climate change. Yeah, because of the waste of the animal. So how to avoid this? So you need the management. Yeah. So if the waste of the animal, if you manage, I mean, it's not just throw it to the river, to the, I mean, just to leave it and then make a problem. So you have to manage it, to process it, and you can change it from waste to energy. So you can make the waste of the animals to be as a methane capture process. So you can capture the methane gases from the waste of the animal, and then you can make it as energy. So it will really significantly reduce the emission. Because before the gases from the waste is CH4, methane, and then when you process it into energy, methane energy, it will reduce significantly because they release only CO2. So from if you see the global warming potential of methane is about 28 times of CO2. So it means when you do the process, you already reduce 28 times of emission reduction. I think that's my short answer, Kirby. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for answering my question.
Thank you. And then we're moving on to the next question is from Tan Quang Din, Vietnam. His question is, I have the chances to work with the underrepresented in the society. So I would like to pose this following question. In your experience, how can local communities, especially those in marginalized regions, drive environmental activism, and how can their voices be amplified within national and international policy discussions?
Thank you very much for the question from Vietnam, is it? From Vietnam.
Yes.
Yeah, this is also a good question for the voices of the local community. It's very. Looks crowded. Yes, it's very important. Yeah, and I feel maybe you are not, but I feel that now the voice of local community is getting more and more. The indicator for me is during the conference of parties, there is a lot of local community and indigenous people now getting involved more and more. Yeah, there are many a local community there, and they make posters, they make protests what their problem. And of course, this is captured by the journalists and activists there. And then it is, I mean, recorded, yeah, recorded by the conference. And this is become part of their future planning to in a climate action, yeah, as a solution, of course. But yeah, of course, it's not very local. Yeah, if there are local community only one, then maybe not too significant. But if a lot of local communities with the same sound on their problem, so this become a common problem. If it is common problem, and then will be priority of the convention, yeah, uh, to solve this problem. So of course it is the challenge, yeah, for local community, because to attend the conference of parties need support as well, no money. So maybe the local government can support this local community, and yeah, if there is the same problem with other countries in the local level, it will be captured and recorded by the conference of parties. I think that's my response. I hope it's answer your question, because the sound sometimes is not clear. Thank you.
Thank you. And then our next question is from Aji in Indonesia. Peatlands or lahan gambut in Indonesia are a significant carbon store and currently facing increasing threats for climate change and sustainable land use practices. Given its potential, how can a nation leverage interdisciplinary research and development to identify innovative and scalable solutions for the sustainable management and restoration of its peatlands, while addressing complex socio-economic and environmental challenges with these ecosystems?
Okay, but I think I lost the first question about research, innovative research, sustainable research.
Yes.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How can a nation leverage interdisciplinary research and development to identify innovative and scalable solutions for sustainable management and restoration of peatlands?
All right. Okay. Yes. Thank you. This is very difficult question, of course. Yeah, I try to answer, but maybe will not fulfill your will. So peatland, yes, you're right that peatland is very, very important in terms of releasing GHG emissions, yeah, because it's contain methane, and also if there are forests above the peatland, also if it is burned, it will be release CO2 as well, and also methane. So this is very a problem, and I'd like to let you know that the biggest emission in Indonesia in volume sector is because of peatland burning. So when peatland is burned, and then will release a lot of emission. So our if it is in our account, and then we lost a lot of money in our account if it is released. So and you are right that this is really disciplinary sector. So this from hydrological system also need research, from soil also need research, and from biodiversity, because in peatland also biodiversity is very rich and will lost if it is burned or destruction. So I think we have to have a coordination with other discipline to do a research. So far, we have a body called Badan Restorasi Gambut dan Mangrove, yeah, BRGM. So they do a lot of thing on peatland. So if you can contact this body, I think you will have more information about that. Yeah, and so far we do together with other sectors with rewetting, because if especially during the El Nino phenomenon, we need to rewetting because it will dry and very vulnerable for forest fire. I think I saw time is up, so can I give the floor to you, Devon? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Syaiful. And thank you very much for all participants for giving your questions and giving your thoughts. And unfortunately, we cannot answer all of the questions because we have limited time. And for the next thing, we will have a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Syaiful Anwar. So, to the committee, can you guys please? There you go.
Thank you very much.
And with this certificate, thank you, sir. And with this certificate, I would like to ask the committee to take a picture of Mr. Syaiful Anwar and his certificate of appreciation. And 1, 2, 3. And then once more. And 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And before Mr. Syaiful's session ends, I would like to use sir to give us, please, a closing statement for ISVMP 2020.
Sorry, Devon.
Yes. Is my voice heard?
Right. Is it the closing statement from me or from?
From you, sir. Yes.
Oh, from me. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, I think this is a big event. It's very important, and I think the topic is very important. Well, it's not. I think it's not only SDG 13, but also another SDGs. If we can achieve the target for the SDGs, maybe not all SDGs, for SDG 13, we can achieve the target, it will be great. But how to achieve that? I think this event like this is important, yeah, to support, to socialization of the action we need to do that. So I think that's it for me, and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Syaiful Anwar. And everyone, please give a virtual applause to Mr. Syaiful Anwar for his deep insights for us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And now that marks the end of our lecture session for today. And we are going to move to have a sharing session with the topic of connecting government, private businesses, academics, and environmental communities in environmental activism. I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Ahmad Rif'an Khoirul Lisan. And first, I am going to introduce you guys to who he is. Mr. Ahmad Rif'an Khoirul Lisan holds a Master's of Science in Water Society and Policy from the University of Arizona with a perfect GPA of 4 out of 4, professionally a lecturer in soil science at UPN Veteran Yogyakarta, and an ILTS tutor with Scotters. Notable achievements include winning the 6th place in the National Scientific Writing Contest, presenting in the GOS competition, and contributing to various workshops on soil carbon research and organic farming practices. So, Mr. Ahmad, how are you today?
I'm going great. How about you, Devon?
I'm doing excellent. Currently meeting you today.
Great. Yeah.
Did you have breakfast?
Sorry. Could you say that again?
Did you have breakfast today?
Practice what? Practice like 4 days?
Yeah, breakfast.
Oh, breakfast. Sorry, I thought practice. Yeah, I did. I have that. And you?
Well, I haven't, unfortunately. But I hope your materials will make me feel satisfied.
No,
And now, thank you.
You have to get your breakfast then.
I will later, sir. Okay,
Okay.
thank you for your time in attending this event. It's such an honor to have you here. And without further ado, the time is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Rif'an, and thank you so much also to Mr. Sukmat Brotajoyo for giving me a chance to present or to share my knowledge, my experience on environmental activism, and it's such a great honor for me. And thank you so much for that. And everyone, let me share. I think you have to stop sharing your screen first before I can share. Okay, thank you so much. Wait, give me a minute for that. Okay. Could you share? Could you see my screen, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So let me start my presentation. Wait. Okay, so my topic today is about connecting government, private businesses, academics, and environmental communities in environmental activism. The problems that I've experienced and also I've seen for many times is that many people are working by themselves. They work by themselves like they are the superhero of their environment, of their community. But the problem is that they're doing everything only by themselves. And if we see on the bigger context, that's actually totally wrong because the world is connected to each other. And also the parties in the world are connected, not any single human that can then can be separated by the rest of them. They all are connected. They are socially connected, and we have to work based on the nature of our creation. That we have to work collaboratively to solve the problems. And if we see the problems of climate change, there is no single human that can do by themselves to solve the problems. We have to work collaboratively. That's the idea of why I bring this topic, connecting government, private businesses, academics, and environmental communities in environmental activism. Also, for years, for hundreds or maybe thousands of years, human civilization have thrived, and also they already built many things. They built technologies, they built machineries, and because maybe in the past, in about 1800s, when at the time there were many inventions, okay, they created something that maybe at the time was very great because that the achievement like the machineries, also many things, telephone and so forth at that time, they were surpassing their generation. Like they are the excellent in their field. But right now we can feel the impact of that, the impact of all advancement of all inventions that happened at the time. We inherit the climate change, the environmental problems that were caused actually by our ancestors. But with that condition, we can't blame only the previous generation, but we have to do something and we have to give something better to the future generation. And it's like the shared responsibility because not only one person should be blamed, not only the ancestors, not only the grandparents should be blamed because of the problems, but we have to bear the same responsibility. We have to do something together, and that's part of our humanity, our human responsibility to inherit the world for the next generation in a better condition than what we got from our ancestors. We have to protect our environment, health for future generation. And if we see, maybe in our childhood, we quite often watch on televisions or on movies, there were many heroes like Superman, Batman, and so forth. But in reality, the person like Superman never exists. Like it's only sci-fi, it's only fiction. And if we rely only on somebody like heroes like Superman, Batman, the world will going to be more problematic in the future. So we don't need only imagination of somebody to become a hero, somebody to become savior to our civilization, but we have to become somebody that can solve that problem, part of the solver. Okay, and for that, because the nature of human is social creatures, we have to, within in the framework, we have to become social as well. We have to collaborate with other people. So we have to work together as a teamwork, as a solid team, okay, and to build greener tomorrow through collaboration. And also, if we see the nature of climate change, everything on Earth is affected by climate change, and the interaction is like spiraling effect. like it's gonna be worse and worse if there is nothing that we do to solve the problem. Okay, it's like spiraling, going towards something. I think there's no end of that cycle, no end of the spiraling effect. It's only gonna be worse and worse unless we do something just to reverse that back, to reverse the spiral effects into something better. Okay, and if we see the nature and also the human lifespan, maybe only 60 years, 60 on 70 years, and maximum only like maybe only 100 years of our age. I think there's no one that can solve the problem by themselves. Really, no one can do that. And this is very complex things. Okay, the world should be together. The countries should be together, and there is nobody should be left behind. The problems in the past is when somebody did something in the past, they only do by themselves. Like they didn't care about other people. They didn't care whether somebody was left behind or not, because the thing is only about themselves. Like I can do that, but you have to change the word, the statement "I can do that" become "we can do that." The collectivism, the collectiveness that you have to invite other people. Okay, maybe you are good in your field, maybe you are good in your academia, maybe okay you have great GPA, but if you can't work with other people, if you can't invite other people to work to be with you in your movement, okay, your movement will only stuck and maybe only last within several years. But after that, there will be nobody else that will continue your movement. So the idea is how we can become leader in the environment, and also how can we invite other people to join into our movement to solve the problems on this planet. Okay, again, if we see the complexity of the environmental issue, there is nobody that can solve the issue by themselves. And maybe in Indonesia, there is one group. Okay, maybe because Devon, I think you are not from Indonesia, right?
I am from Indonesia.
Oh, you do. Oh, you are from Indonesia. Okay, Indonesia, maybe the participants from the Philippines, maybe you don't really know about Pandawa group. Okay, Pandawa is one great youth community, and this like community of consisting of five people. They're like doing noble things to clean up rivers, clean up beaches. Okay, and then what they do is like they invite people to go to work together with them. But the problem for them is that they only do like one thing, one thing event. Like they only like clean beach, but they don't really go back on the system why the pollutions happen, why the trash can be accumulated in the oceans or in the rivers or in the beaches. If we trace back anything happening, that's because of the factories, because of the consumerism, that's because of the policy from the government, that's because of the habit of the people. Okay, and unless we solve that problem, the problem of the trash will be still happening. We can only clean our rivers in one day, for example. We can only clean our beaches in one day, and it become clean. Cleans. But if we don't solve the problems from the very basic root, okay, the problem will still always exist. Okay. Also, the second thing is that we have to gather the many expertises. We need somebody with economic expertise, environmental expertise, technological expertise, computer expertise, statistics expertise, agriculture, agro-technology expertise, and so forth. They have to come together. They have to collaborate. For example, because my background was actually a geographer, if I do only within my background, there are many problems that I can tackle. I have to gather people from farmer background, people from economic background, from economy statistics and so forth, and I have to gather them into one thing, into one community. Okay, and we have to share our expertise, and we can share the responsibility among us. Okay, and if we can work collaboratively, if we can work with many people, the impact will be much greater than if we only do it by ourselves. Okay, at least there are four aspects that we have to work together. The first is government, the second is private businesses, the third is academic institution, and the last is environmental communities. Maybe you are part right now, maybe you are part of the academia. You are in academic institutions because most of you are students of a university. But later you can become a businessman, for example, like Elon Musk, like Bill Gates. Maybe you can become the part of the government of the public sector, and also you can maybe later become somebody that will work hand in hand with people, become part of the environmental communities. But all of us in our position can do some role to solve the planet, to solve the problems of this planet. And if we see further the roles of the government has power to enforce environmental regulations, to support green energy initiatives, to fund collaborative projects, and also to lead by example with sustainable practices. The previous speaker already talked about COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, and there's a great framework for the collaboration among the governments. In Indonesian governments, we also send delegation to Baku, Azerbaijan. There are many other delegations of many foreign countries coming together, and because they have the same problem, that is climate change. And they do realize in the environmental context, and also in international stage, they do realize that the problems is very complex and they can't do that by themselves. There should be all countries together to solve that problem. Okay, so they invite the delegates from many countries to come together, and we now have a problem with the United States of America. Recently the Donald Trump was elected as the next president of the United States, and under his leadership, there will be so much changes on the policy on environment by the United States of America. And we know that right now the biggest economy is the United States. Okay, and because of this condition, I mean, based on the lessons that we got from the United States, we as an environmental activist, we have to ensure that the government in our own country, like for example in Indonesia, in the Philippines, we have to elect the best candidates, the one that is care to the environmental problems. Okay, not only caring about the economy, not only caring about the infrastructure development, but we also have to appoint somebody that is supporting environmental movement. That's the key lesson from what happened in the United States. Because what if the United States is under Donald Trump? Because the policy will be reversed. In Joe Biden era, Joe Biden presidency, the government spends millions or even billions of dollars to support the green initiative, to support the green infrastructure. But right now, because of the Donald Trump, everything happening in Joe Biden era will be reversed back, become something that will harm the environment. So ensure is if later you become part of the government, you have to become somebody that is supporting the policy on green infrastructure or green initiative or green movement. Okay, and also if we become right now, because most of us are still part of the community of the public members, we have to ensure that our leaders are the one that are care with the environment. And also political power is very crucial in determining the policies of a country. If the political actors are bad, okay, the policies that's gonna be decided is gonna be bad to the environment. Okay, and also the roles of the private businesses. We do need money. We do need capital in our environmental programs. Okay, for example, if we want to plant trees, we have to collect millions of rupiah, millions of dollars, because we have to, we have to get the trees. We have to get the tools for the tree planting, and we have to gather people, we have to feed them, we have to give them some food in their programs, and we have to have like trucks to bring the trees from the breeding ground to the area of planting. There are many things that we need money for that. Okay, and the funder of the programs beside the government, even though the government has money because of the taxation, but this one, the private sectors, because they have businesses and they are so powerful. If we see, for example, Donald Trump, not Donald Trump, like Elon Musk or Bill Gates or other people, the businessmen, the world richest people on earth, they are actually much more wealthy than countries. They own many things. They own many things, and their capital are so great. Actually, if we can invite them into our movement, into a part of environmental activists, they can become some game changer because they can give their capital, they can donate their money for our movement. And if that happens, that's gonna be great. Okay, the problem today is that many businessmen, they are they are the doers also of wrong things. They are the evils. For example, Indonesia, not long time ago, Haji Isam, like one of the wealthiest person in Indonesia, he's buying like 2,000 excavators to be brought to Papua. Papua is very exotic. It has very great agriculture, very great biodiversity. But because of development and because of bad businessmen, it's gonna be destroyed soon in Indonesia. 2,000 excavators coming from China because of Haji Sam coming to Papua, and that's gonna be destroying the wealth of our earth, the biodiversity. That's gonna be destroyed because of the one person, and that's because of the businessman. Also, right now we have to engage with businessmen, with business sectors, in the hope that they can also become part of the solution, not only becoming part of the destroyers. Right? In many countries, many businessmen are the devils. They destroy, then they care. They destroy the environment in the name of profit making. To make the best or the biggest profit, they destroy many things. And capital, even though it's like on like two-sided knife. At the first side, they can they can kill somebody, but on the other side, they can kill the enemy. I mean, the enemy of goodness. And if the second function of knife is what happens, we can see problems will get easier. Well, problems will get solved with a businessman, by businessmen. And the third aspect, the third partner, the third actor of environmental activism is academia. I think almost all of us here, because all of us here comes from campus, from academia, and we can do many things in our role. For example, by conducting interdisciplinary research, by training future environmental leaders, and this part of the function of education. Education is the most powerful weapon to change a country, to change a civilization. Without education, everything bad can happen. We have to train, we have to educate our next generation to become part of the solution of the earth. There are many conspiracies actually out there. They don't believe in climate change. They believe that climate change is only hoax. It's only made up by global elites. Okay, but it's actually real. Okay, and this all is because of this also is only about education and also about campaign. We have to recounter the campaign from the other side, because if the conspiracy theories, if their idea is spread across the globe, what happened to the earth will be so much destructive. Okay. Also, we need the academia can inform policy with evidence-based solution, and it can also host forum for knowledge exchange, as this one, as ISVMP, because this part of our forums to talk about environment and also to find the alternative solutions for the environmental problems. This is something great. We have to appreciate this. ISVMP, and we have also to thank to the committee, also to the initiator of this, and we do hope that something like this, like ISVMP, can become much bigger in the future and will bring more impact, good impact to the earth. And the fourth thing is the communities. Okay, maybe some of you are working on your campus. Maybe all of you are working on your academic things, on your theoretical things, on the advancement, on the invention, and so forth. But out there are billions of people that is part of the community. We are part of a community, even though we're not there. Many of us are not there anymore. I was working with communities, like I was trying to engage connecting the dots between the government, academia, also to the community. And in the community, if we see the dynamics of community, there are many ideas over there. There are many perspectives out there. Some of them support the environmental movements, but some of them don't. They don't support this. And even they say that environmental movements is only useless. It's only fake things. Environmental problems are only fake things, and we'll face many problems out there. Okay, so if we find somebody with environmental activism from our community members, we have to support that. We have to give some facilitations. We have to connect our network to the persons, because somebody with environmental activism, mostly they are lonely. They feel alone. They only do by themselves, and they need partners for that. If we see somebody with that activism, with the care to the environment, the first thing that you have to do is to come and also to give our hands to them, at least to support the persons, because the persons need support, and there are many out there that they are lonely in their activism in environment. Okay, our community can build awareness and advocacy campaign. Again, with some note that if the community members are aware, so the first thing is the awareness. We have to raise their awareness. Also, they can invite other members of community, they can drive grassroots actions. They can act as watchdog to ensure accountability and also to encourage citizen participations. But the first thing to do is that we have to make them aware of the conditions, and they have to be educated to also become part of the solutions of the problems. I've done many things in my whole life to do good things to the environment. Okay, I'm right now professionally, I'm a lecturer in Jakarta in Soil Science Department, but I'm also a founder of an organization called LPDB Water Professionals. I'll tell you about that later. Okay, in 2021, I was oh, sorry, not this one, because it's the compilations of many projects that I've done. Okay, from trying to make, food source or food banks in houses, in households. Okay, to releasing turtles to make some light, free electricity light, and was done on the remote island in Indonesia, to meeting people, to engage with them, to ask them to come to our movements and so forth. So this is the detail of each of them. During my time of my master's study, I was working as an intern on the watershed management group. We're doing social outreach. We try to go to them, to invite them to build some green infrastructure, and also we try to educate them on how to best preserve or to best utilize the water. And also our ultimate goal at the time was trying to revive the dying river in Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona, the United States. The river, Santa Cruz River at the time. We're trying to do many things. And for reviving a river, we have to work collaboratively with many people, with many sectors. For example, this one, we're working in a school, local school. We're trying to install green infrastructure, but we involve the students of that school. And in many occasions also, we met in City Hall. We met together with the city stakeholders, and we tried to advocate on our interest, that is to revive the river. We also try to educate people on how to use our faces. Maybe in Indonesia, in the Philippines, faces is only thrown away. It should be get rid of as soon as possible. But over there, we're trying to make our faces into fertilizers while conserving water at that time. Okay, this one, the one that I told you, I was connecting three big sectors in environment, the government, the academia, also the people, the community. In 2021, I was working in the BBW, as we call it, Balai Besar Wilayah Sungai, or watershed authority. Okay, and I was trying to connect between the government, academia, and also to the people. And I was formulating policy for that, like the organizational structures. Okay, this one, the organizations that I found in 2018, right now is still active. You can find it on Instagram, BTV Water Professionals. We're doing many programs here. We're collaborating with many sectors, with many organizations as well. We do education, we educate people. We also have connection with the government, with academia, okay, with private sectors and so forth. And we're working collaboratively through this community. And also because right now I'm a teacher, I'm a lecturer, I'm teaching many environmental classes. And I do believe that with these things, I can inspire my students to become the agents of goodness, agents of change. And later they can spread the words of goodness, spread of the words of environmental activism, and they can invite their community to do better things on a massive scale for a better earth. This is also my a personal project. I do it vertical wall mounted hydroponic. This is still on pilot project. This is in my home actually. Okay, just aside at the side of my home, I built this. I built several plantations, but this one I took the photo several weeks ago. It's still chili and also eggplants. But right now I have tomatoes. I have kangkong and also several other plantations that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to plant, and it's interesting because we don't use electricity for this. We don't use electricity, and also this easily managed. And if this thing is spread on many households, on millions or billions of households in the world, this is gonna be a game changer on the effort to solve environmental problems. But then we have problems on how to make collaborations. At least there are three problems. The first is mistrust among stakeholders, and to build trust is something hard. The second is lack of communication. And the problems happen to our academia today because the academia is like an exclusive community. They don't, like many of academia, they don't want to go to the grassroots communities. They only keep the knowledge, the theories, the advancement only for them. But the problems, like they have problems on communicating. Some of them do communicate with grassroots communities, but their lack of communication with the policy makers. Okay, you know that, as I said before, political power is very powerful. If the academia don't communicate with the political leaders, there will be no massive change happening. So we have to find an academia that can collaborate, that can also communicate to the lower level. I mean, not lower level, like, I mean, to the general community, but also the academia should able to communicate with the political power. And also better if the person can communicate with the private sectors or businessmen. And also there will be naturally different priorities and timelines. That's happening, but we can do many things on the first and the second things. That is on the trust and the communication. To overcome challenge, we have to first build trust through transparency. Okay, it's happened on many developing countries, developing nations, the issue of transparency. They want to do many things. They want to collect money as much as possible. They say for certain purposes, for environmental activism. But the thing, there is no transparency. We can't access the budgeting of the programs, and we have to find a solution for this. And also, we have to regularly communicate goals and progress. Okay, most of us, we are great on theories, we are great on the concept, but if we are not great on communication, it's going to be hard for us to change people, to change society. We have to be able to communicate with grassroots communities, with high-level elites, okay, with private sectors, and the languages are different from one person to other person, from to one target to other targets. We have to adjust our communications. We can use our academic. Oh, okay. So sorry. It's not. Yeah, I mean, the idea is that we have to become somebody, changer in on our community, that we have to become a leader for that. Okay, and the last that I want to share is that alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. And this quote is from Helen Keller, one of the best writers in the United States. Let's unite for a greener tomorrow and inspire generations to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad, for your great perspective on activism, on how people, especially students, communities, governments, policies, private businesses. I think that it's interesting that you brought up US and about policies about Trump and Biden, about Elon Musk as well. I think I was really captivated in your presentation. So I really wrote a lot of notes, but I don't think I can read them all because I think it will take a lot of time. So I will just move on to the Q&A. There you go. A lot of people have already presented their questions. So I think it's good for the first one is Mariza.
Okay, thank you for the time. Greetings, Mr. Ahmad. It is an
Yeah.
absolute honor to be here and listen to your priceless and vast knowledge today. So I would like to highlight a question about things. I will send it to the chat box first. It is a known fact that the main source that amplifies climate crisis is industrialization, that is
Yep.
fueled by capitalization. And
Yep.
as you have mentioned before, numerous businesses that kills the earth, figuratively and literally. And how do we stand together when they stand for money? And what power do we have over those mega industries? And how do we convince them to stop their greed? And is there any hopes left that we can still hang on to and do right now? Thank you for the time.
Okay, great question, Mariza. Okay, something that I got when I was studying in the United States is that we also can use capital to protect the environment. We have to put a price on environment because there are services from the environment. For example, the services to give us oxygen, the services to give us pleasures, the services to give us the tranquility of the nature. When, for example, if you go to Bali, the things that is offered by Bali is the tranquility, the fresh fullness of the environment. Okay, that's the thing that offered like this, the environmental services. We have to give value on that. Okay, by that we can also, if we see that the nature has value, people will appreciate that. The problems that happen when we only destroy the nature, if we see that nature is like they are invaluable. Okay, we have to reverse that perceptions. We have to say that the environment has value, and by that people can't destroy it because it has value. So right now the problem is that the value of the environment is still lower than the value of capitalism. I mean the value of the industries. Later we have to reverse this. And there is a concept right now, we call it carbon trading scheme. Okay, carbon trading is giving value to the service given by the environment, that is the carbon storage or carbon capture by the environment. For example, people in the United States, they can pay people in Indonesia to plant trees because trees can store carbon. Okay, so meaning that the trees are valuable. they can store carbon, and by carbon credits that by carbon that is stored, it can be translated into credits, and the credits can be requested for money. People in the United States, they can do the industries, but they have to pay people in Indonesia to keep the environment. I think that become part of the solutions, and there are indeed hopes. Okay, there are many schemes that we can utilize, like the one that I told you before, the scheme of the environmental service. We can utilize that. We can use carbon credits, and also on the real context, if the can of oxygen, if in the free air, oxygen is free, but if that's the oxygen can be canned and like in bottle, we squeeze the oxygen and put that into bottle, become oxygen can. Okay, the price of oxygen can become much higher. And right now we have to think about how to increase the environmental value. And for that, I believe that Marisa can do some research on how to improve the environmental value. We have to appreciate that. And I do believe that in the future, the environmental value will become much higher if the world is suffering in the future, because the prediction, the world will be suffering a lot because of climate change. In that case, environmental value will become much higher. And I do believe that there will be solutions for that. I think that's my answer, Marisa.
Thank you for your answer. I hope that we can get to that solution sooner than later. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you for the answer and question. We're moving on to the next question from Khoirul Zaidi, Indonesia. What are some effective models of collaboration between government, private businesses, academics, and environmental communities that have led to significant environmental improvements? Additionally, how can we evaluate and determine the most suitable model to implement for our specific environmental problem?
Okay, that's a great question, but that's going to be hard because, the conditions, social conditions, the economical conditions, the cultural conditions of each community is quite different. The first thing that we have to do is we have to know about the cultural context. We have to know about how community engage with other agents, with other sectors like the government. We have to find that. Okay, and by understanding the cultural and culture, what I mean by cultural is not only culture, like tradition, but also thought about the transparency, about the pattern of communication. We have to know all of that. That's the first thing that we have to know. After we understand about that, so then we can create a formula on how somebody should collaborate each other. So the collaboration pattern in Indonesia should be different from the collaborations in the United States, for example, because the culture is quite different. The culture of openness has been appreciated in the United States, and also the culture of equalities is still praised over there. But in Indonesia, equalities is something that is still hard to get. Okay, so Indonesia, the formulation should be like top down mostly, but the top or the government should be somebody that is clear, like they are not corrupt government. Okay, Indonesia top down things is still more effective than the bottom up, because the culture in Indonesia, we're still quite silent. Our community, because for hundreds of years of under kingdomships in Indonesia, we had many kingdoms in Indonesia, and the elites are still very powerful. However, the grassroots community are very silent. Okay, if we rely on the grassroots community to come up with idea, we can achieve the great things. But for this condition in Indonesia, I believe that the top-down things is much powerful. But we have to make sure that the top tier of Indonesia is somebody that are clean, somebody that are not corrupt, and they know what to do. Okay, if we compare with America, bottom-up schemes is much powerful because many people are aware, and they are so vocal. They can voice their idea, they can voice their perspective without interventions, without fear. But here, like the condition is quite different. Okay, so to answer the question, it depends on many things. The first thing, it depends on the culture, and the second things, it depends on the systems of the government of that country. So we have to know about that first. And there is no such formula, like there's no single bullet for everything, because the contexts are so different, and we have to see the context. I think that's my answer.
Thank you, sir. And then moving on to, I think, the last question, because we don't have much time.
Okay.
From Tan Huan Bin, again, from Vietnam. I take this following question into account, so I do hope that you can unravel this conundrum for me. How can academic institutions and activists movements better collaborate to bridge the gap between research and action, ensuring that scientific findings are translated into practical policies or community-driven environmental initiatives?
Okay. I don't know actually about the context of the Philippines, but I can bring the context of Indonesia. Hopefully that the context is similar, hopefully. In Indonesia, there are many academia that do research on things that actually not really needed by people. But they only, they have responsibility to get credits, and some of the credits can be gotten from the research, and they simply only fulfill the obligations as a lecturer. They have to do research, but they don't really know about what is needed by the industries, what is needed by the people, by the government. The first thing first is that they have to know about the needs of people. Indeed, you have idea what to do on research, but you have to see also the impact or the needs of the government, of the people. Okay, that's the first. But the second thing, if we do that, if we try to know the needs of people, needs of the business, of the private sector, sometimes the academia is only part of the capitalism. They only like their effort is only to fulfill the demand of capitalists, of this businessmen. Like everything from them, the expertise only paid a little by companies, by capitalists. That's okay. The ideal thing is that they have to be independent, but they need money. And right now, okay, we still work on that because there are still many flaws, and we have to fix it. But the first thing first is that we have to become solutions of what is needed by general people. We have to see that, and we have to open our eyes that we are not only exclusive institution, but we are part of the society. We have to be inclusive, not exclusive. I think that's my answer, Devon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Ahmad, and thank you as well to everyone who has given the questions, and thank you very much for your enthusiasm and very spirited discussion in this specific session. I was really, really interested in this discussion. So thank you, Mr. Ahmad, again.
Welcome.
And for now, we're going to give you, of course, our certificate of appreciation for proudly presenting your perspective and research on ISVMP 2024. So to the committee, can you guys please help me take a picture of Mr. Ahmad and his certificate? And in 1, 2, 3. Once more. In 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And before we end Mr. Ahmad's sessions, I would like Mr. Ahmad to give us a closing statement.
Okay, thank you, Devon. My last statement will be: there is no one hero, but there is people that work together on things, and that's gonna be bringing a great impact to future generation. We have to work collaboratively, and don't work by yourself because you are weak if you're only lonely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, for everyone, ladies and gentlemen, that would conclude our today's sharing session. I would like to say thank you very much. And as your moderator for today, I will be signing out, but returning as your MC. So the Estetica, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Devon, for moderating our session today. So, guys, how did the session go? Anyone would like to share your thoughts or opinion about the previous lectures? Maybe imagine you're writing a one sentence review about the session we just had, and what would it be? Whether it's a highlight or a question that stood out, or even a funny moment. We'd love to hear your take, please. You can write it in the comment section here. Okay.
Anyone from any group? Share your thoughts.
In maybe just one sentence, or maybe I'll make it easy for you guys. Just one word, maybe. Okay. I think research could be done before implementing such innovations. Wow, this is good. Phenomenal. Thank you, Tan Huang. Amazing. Amazing, real insightful with the movement of information agent. Okay, thank you very much, Sophia. Anyone? Oh, thank you, Safa. I love it. Okay. I hope you guys already got insightful knowledge and ideas for your project that will be discussed later with your group. And now we will play a game to refresh our brain and relax a bit before we move to another agenda. For this, I would like to ask for assistance from the committee to share the link of quizzes. Okay, thank you. You can see the link in your screen right now. Kamu yang share screen? Okay, wait. I'll ask the committee to share the link in the chat box, please. Okay, thank you. You guys can join now. Maybe we'll wait for all the participants to join. Okay. Okay, guys, still waiting for you to join the quiz. Okay, guys, the ice-breaking session with the quizzes will start in 1 minute. So please answer the quizzes room right now. Thank you.
Yes, you don't want to be late for this.
Kaya hindi ako namamati. Asa nag-visit ka?
Okay, are you guys ready for the quiz right now? Okay, we can start the quiz by 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay, we'll see the leaderboard here. Okay.
Are that all the questions, all the answers?
Oh, they are so competitive, right?
Accuracy of 93%.
Wow.
Grace on top. Mariza number 2. Giovanni number 3.
And the first one will be Grace there. Okay. Oh,
Oh,
Marisa is
Mariza
on
on
the
a streak.
first.
Yen also on a streak.
Grace, following by Grace and Giovanni, Nesha. Wow. The overtake from Yen.
Mariza and Yen
Okay, they are
fighting
racing
for
right
number
now.
1.
Okay. Okay, Yen is right now the number 1, and then followed by Grace and Giovanni. We'll see if there are any overtake. Let's go. Wow. Okay. Oh, you're guys so enthusiastic with the 92% accuracy. Right. Okay. The position is changing right now. Grace is number 1 and Yen is number 2, following by JJ and Happy Ananda from Indonesia. Okay, there's an overtake in 4. There's Pauline and Estimada. With the 1, 2, and 3, still Grace, Yen, and JJ. Okay, the overtake from 3. Okay, overtake meant and JJ for number 3. The report is right now is Grace with number 1 and Giovanni in number 2 and Yen number 3, followed by Pauline and JJ. Oh, there is an overtake from Pauline in number 2 right now. Leaderboard right now is Grace in number 1, Pauline in number 2, 3, Giovanni in number 3, Jorens in number 4, and Francis in number 5, followed by Yen. There's an overtake there with Jorens in number 1 right now, and Grace, and followed by Pauline, Giovanni, Francis, and Yen. All right. The leaderboard right now is Jorens in number 4, and then Grace in number 2, followed by Pauline and Aji. And number 5 is Giovanni, followed by Khoirul in number 6.
Right. If you guys haven't joined the quiz session, then you can just support your team through the chat box, like what Sandy and Kyrol is doing for Snow White. And these are the questions. Jorens currently leading as number 1 with 18,275 points. Can you please open the questions tab? Open the questions tab. Okay. Keep going there. And here we can see all of the questions and the accuracy of all your teammates. You can see that almost all of them are perfect. So I think we can confidently say that our participants are quite smart. What is the main goal of SDGs? Or incorrect? They were perfect all the way from 8 to 10. And then more 5 wrong people. How can individuals contribute to responsible consumption? That's yesterday's material. What are the benefits of modern energy solutions for education? That's the study case in Thailand, in Rajabat University. And what ways can business promote sustainable energy use? Perfect. Back to the leaderboard, please.
Okay. We see Jorens is still leading with 18,275 points, followed by Grace. And there's an overtake in number 3. There's Risky, followed by Pauline and Aji. Let's go, guys.
The participants' numbers are increasing. It's now 71. So there's still a chance for Jorens to be replaced in number 1.
Okay, I think that's all for icebreaking. Maybe we can see the leaderboard right now.
We are ending the game.
Okay, everyone, let's see the result.
Here we go. Risky, number 3. Trace, number 2. And Jordan's still number 1. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys. Oh my God.
The class accuracy of 83%. Some of you guys got 100%. Excellent. Some of you guys got 93%. Great. And some for under. Good.
You look like my professor.
Thank you. I get that a lot.
Okay. Wonderful, guys. You guys are so smart, and we know that you're following the lecture, and your thank you for enthusiasm for this event. Okay. Thank you, committees, for the fun ice breaking. How was it, everyone? We can you send me a reaction or maybe emoji in the chat group? Okay. That's super fun. Okay, it was
Of
fun.
course, it is fun
Thank
for you,
you.
Jordan. You're the winner.
Yes. Okay. Right. Thank you for your enthusiasm in this ice breaking. I hope you guys have fun right there. And we will move to the next session.
Yes.
Yes.
Our next agenda,
Our next
as you
agenda,
guys have
as
heard
you
before,
guys have heard before, is the project discussion. We will open again the breakout rooms for discussion. The participants will be assigned to each breakout rooms with your respective buddies. The discussion will run for 50 minutes. After that, all participants are expected to return to the main room for question and answer session, announcement, and closing. If you have any struggles to join the breakout room, don't hesitate to call the committee. But first, before you enter the breakout room, I want to ask if all of your groups are already here.
Thank you. And we wish everyone a fruitful and insightful discussion. And we will see you in the main room later. Thank you.
Yes, have a good discussion, everyone.
Hi everyone. Can you hear my voice?
Now, we would like to open some question and answer sessions. For those of you who want to ask something or committee regarding the project or assignment, feel free to type your question or comment in the chat box. So, and if you prefer to speak directly, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And you guys, you can ask some question right now.
Are there any questions?
About the project and assignment.
No questions? No questions. You want to ask, like, maybe your body's number?
Hey.
A question from Dave. May I ask about the photo challenge? Do we also have to send a brief description about our photo? Committee, please. Great. Dave, the answer is from Sandy there. You can add the context in the comment on the photo. And then from Tan Huang Din, do we also have a page limit for our poster? Just one.
I'm sorry, Tan Huang. Is the page limit is like the size of the poster or the number of page you have? If the number of page is just one page, and for size, do you asking for size or the page? Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone have any questions?
Okay, guys, if there are no more questions, if there is if there is a question later on, you can contact your buddies. Oh, a new question. For the video, can we jump on some bandwagon like trendy songs while still conveying messages related to SDGs to make it more clickbaity? Yes, you can. As long as you don't break any rules in the handbook, it's clear. Mm. Be as creative as you like.
So if there is any questions more, you can ask your buddy later. And if there is, you can ask it right here or later with your buddy. Thank you, guys.
So, everyone, before we close today's meeting, we'd like to give a little reminder about what's coming up and also give you the opportunity to provide feedback after the event is over via the forum provided.
Right, guys. While you fill the attendance form, I would like to inform you that December 7, 2024 is the third day of ISVMP, and we will have a very interesting session in the morning until noon. That we will start by group presentation and then followed by a fun game session and awarding, of course. And so I hope you guys prepare properly for the day in the December 7th. Can you send the link for the attendance? Okay, there is already the link in the comment section. Oh my God, yeah, maybe it's your internet. Okay, thank you, Devon.
If you guys have filled out the form, then you can just say done or complete or just express anything in the chat box. Perfect. I see that all of you are done today. So let's move on to the closing. And I would proudly say and happily that that was all of the agenda for today. Please, if you are not completed the attendance form, do not forget.
And thank you for your active participation and kind attention. We wish you all good luck for tomorrow. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you again on day 3. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you all.